Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a fantastic Thursday. I hope I never have to get rid of that intro music because holy moly, I just feel like it fits weather so well. I know we always, we've talked about that in the chat before, but geez, that intro music is good. Let me go ahead and see what we have in the chat today. We've got Austin Miller, Storm Dakota, Indiana, Caleb, Chris, Sebastian, Edits, Rockets, Maury, Edits. Oh, I said Edits twice. Hey, you get a double shout out. Jax, let's see who else we have in here. Maybe I forgot someone. Catman, Indiana, anybody else that I may have forgotten, welcome to the live stream. And everyone else who is watching may not be chatting. Glad to see you in here as well. Let me go to switch our scene on over. We should be good to go. I'm not even going to look behind me. Date's good to go. Everything looks to be fine here. I'm going to zoom this in because we are quite zoomed out. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be talking about some winter storm potential here in most of the United States. This is going to be a pretty in-depth look at our snow potential because we've got a lot of uncertainty and just a few model runs actually agree with each other. We're going to go over the overall, large-scale pattern that should bring a snowstorm to the southern United States and why some of these model runs aren't exactly showing a big winter storm anymore. The model run I have playing in the background obviously does. That is your Canadian model run there. But let me go ahead and pull this on back. We're going to start out with what I try to start out with in these winter streams. It's either the Weather Prediction Center or, in this case, it's going to be the Climate Prediction Center. Then we'll go on into the WPC. Welcome, Haley, Proxy, Caleb. I'm sure I said you. There ain't no way I forgot you. I saw your messages like 20 times over. You're going to have to go back, see if I forgot you. That would be quite weird. I feel like I didn't forget you. But yeah, here's your newest CPC outlooks. They just issued this today. I'm pretty sure, yep, January 16th. You see it right there. Just issued this today. They're continuing with that very large area of below average temperatures in the majority of the United States, with a very specific area for the highest chance of below average temperatures out there in the Carolinas. Also, an area of above average precipitation expected in the southern and southeastern United States, as well as the north and kind of northwestern United States, with that continual drought thanks to the lack of atmospheric rivers out there in the western United States, with below average precipitation and above average temperatures expected. Towards this time frame, what we're going to have here is we're going to have this blast, the 22nd, 23rd, we're going to have a big blast of cool air that moves throughout the U.S. And then after that blast, we should see a warm-up generally in this area. I talked about this, I think, quite a while ago. I think it was in our latest video, like 2 days ago or so. when I talked about that warm up that would be possible. We're probably going to have to go more in depth into that, maybe even in this live stream here, because of the severe weather potential that could lead to in the southern United States. And you can see we also have a chance for below average precip out there in the central U.S. Now, I do want to note this here, this tannish color, that is only a 30 to 40% chance of actually seeing below average precipitation. So there's still a chance that you end up seeing a average and or near normal January timeframe from the 22nd to the 26th. Now, these products have changed. The precipitation outlook, they've actually continued this chance for precipitation here, because we're going to see a lot of systems in the southeastern United States. We're going to have a lot more precipitation out there. Whether or not it's snow or not, there's not enough confidence to introduce any snowfall risks in that area of at least heavy snowfall. So we'll keep on eyeing the CPC's heavy snowfall outlooks here, but at the moment, it doesn't look like they are expecting any heavy snowstorms from the 24th through the 30th time frame, but I'll show you why I have a feeling that will probably end up changing. And then for the temperature outlooks, you got to also remember our greatest threat for hazardous to potentially even deadly and historic temperatures will be from about the 20th to the 23rd. That is not in this time frame. This is valid from the 24th to the 30th, which is when those hazardous blasts will be exiting the U.S. Hence why this is so far south, because that's where those blasts will be leaving the United States, and then our temperatures will eventually warm up. So our risk for hazardous temperatures should continue to hopefully go down over the next few days, as we should finish January probably a little bit above average on the temperature wise here. I'll show you that right here. This is from the 24th to the 30th, and you can see it's still obviously large chances, or most of the US, I should say, is included in that chance for below average temperatures, but it's not very confident. We should end just barely below average or near normal for temperatures in much of the United States towards the very end of January, early into February, with, of course, above average precipitation in most of the southern U.S. That's going to be in direct correlation with the potential of snowstorms as well as severe weather threats. More of just a severe weather threat, not really plural on severe weather threats. I want to go ahead and pull you guys on over to the Weather Prediction Center before we dive on into some model runs. That way we can look at what the officials are saying for these upcoming snowstorms. And this is going to be using their fronts here. I'm going to zoom it in as much as possible, I think. Okay, that should be good. So this is for today, obviously. Not really... This doesn't show the precipitation outlines. It just shows your fronts and your generalized locations of your fronts here. But as we go to the next frame, which is later on tonight, 7 p.m. actually in 1 hour, we'll continue to see that snow potentially heavy at times in portions of the northeastern United States, and most likely pretty inactive unless you are in quite the higher elevations in the Rockies in terms of weather. I mean, we're really going to end a very quiet Thursday evening and Thursday night here, with the exception of the Northeast and very higher elevations in the Rockies. And then overnight tonight, we'll continue to see that snow in the Rockies transition towards the northwestern plains. Could see some isolated snow showers begin in the north central United States, as well as still continuing in the Rockies out there towards Wyoming and maybe even into north central Colorado as we go into the afternoon hours of tomorrow. We'll begin to see some rain out here, most likely in Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas as we go throughout tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. And then finally going into Saturday here, we'll see this giant front. Now, the most important thing from this huge front is actually going to be the stage it sets up for a snowstorm. It's not actually going to bring a lot of snow for Ohio and Indiana and Michigan like we originally thought. If I pull you guys one frame more here into Saturday morning, you'll see we're still going to see that lake effect snowfall in Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania, but it won't be nearly as heavy as what we were originally expecting, because this front isn't going to be as favorable for our temperatures aren't timed correctly. I should just say that our temperatures aren't perfectly timed correctly with this front, so we most likely won't see any heavy snowstorms out of this system unless it is from lake effect snowfall. Sunday, that's when it is completed setting the stage here. You'll see this overall giant trough ejection here thanks to that big front that pushes through. Let me just quickly switch on over here. Give me just a second. I want to make sure what I'm going to say is going to line up with the model runs I show you guys. So this is on Sunday, correct? Yes. So this is okay. That is all a trough ejection. So yeah, this is your ginormous trough ejection here, and it's just overall bringing a very large blast of freezing, potentially historic temperatures into the entirety of the United States. Now, where we will actually see those historic temperatures, it's going to be very spotted. There won't be like a huge state that sees historic temperatures. It will be a town or city every now and then that ends up breaking the record with this system. And most likely it will be from wind chills. For instance, we could see wind chills into the negative 30s out there in Illinois and Indiana, according to some model runs. So it's definitely possible we see a record breaking cold blast here. Now, this is the important part here, is this cold front's extension here, and as it goes into a dry line. The main part I pay attention to with this is this area in here, just making sure that that area is going to get cold air, which I checked on model runs, we'll check later on. And it looks like we're going to see this blast is going to keep that cold air locked in for a while. Why is that so important? Well, over the last couple of days, the last 3-4 days, we've actually seen very gradual uptrends to the point where I really haven't noticed them until today, where it ended up being a significant uptrend. And you'll see here, the Weather Prediction Center really isn't forecasting a winter storm, but this could actually end up being a winter storm in this area. They just have this very narrow corridor of snow being a possibility. Personally, I see this potentially ending up dropping widespread 4 to 6 inches of snowfall in isolated areas, up to 8 inches of snowfall in portions of the northeastern United States, specifically in the northeastern U.S. up in this area here. Again, we'll go over some model runs on why I believe that. We'll most likely initiate live weather coverage on Sunday for a couple of hours due to this winter storm. Then Monday, that's going to be another bit of an inactive day as we see that cold front exit the United States. It leaves the U.S., and guess what? That cold front sets the stage for yet another winter storm. Now, I'm going to zoom out just a bit for this because it's going to be in the southern U.S. So Monday, we should be relatively inactive in terms of Monday morning because of this high pressure that's pushing into the central U.S., as well as this low pressure that will eventually set the stage for snow later down towards the Gulf coastline as we go throughout Monday night into Tuesday. Going through Monday into Tuesday, you'll see here Tuesday morning, that's when our stage for our winter storm is ongoing. Tuesday morning, we'll most likely be seeing snow generally around this area here, all the way from southeastern Virginia, far southern Maryland into most of South Carolina, some of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. All are going to have a snow potential with this. The biggest issue here is our cutoff. It's a very sensitive system, and it doesn't seem like it's going to have a very potent low pressure. Our only low pressure on this here is actually in Florida. So what this is going to have to balance out between is how much moisture is overall flowing into the U.S. without much of a lift with it, and then overall how far south or north does this low pressure in the plains go. So there is still a lot of uncertainty in this entire region here on what our weather pattern is going to do. Tiniest little shifts north, south, west, east, a little bit less moisture could all shift the entire weather pattern that we see in this region in terms of this upcoming snowstorm being a possibility for the southern U.S. Then on Wednesday, we'll see that high pressure continue off to the southeast. We'll most likely end up with another trough ejection beginning in the Rockies. And then as we go on into Wednesday, just going to make sure this matches up. It indeed does. And then as we go on into Wednesday and Thursday, we'll reset again, where we end up seeing this high pressure leaving the U.S. It tries to linger in some cool temperatures out here in the Central Plains and into the southeastern United States. And Thursday into Friday, we'll most likely be looking at another winter storm. So we're looking at 3 to 4 different winter storms being a possibility over the next 2 weeks, maybe even 5 winter storms being possible. It just depends on how well our pattern goes. I don't see a way how we don't see at least a minimum of 1 to 2 winter storms out of this. If everything goes wrong, the minimum we're going to get is 1 winter storm, because I think we have really locked in this one right here. This winter storm here on the, let's see, I'm actually going to switch to the Canadian model run. This one here, and I'm actually going to switch you guys over to this one. So there you go. So this is your Canadian model run, and I want to show you guys it. So I think this is your first possible snowstorm, which I think this will be mainly limited to lake effect areas in Michigan, northeastern Ohio, northwestern Pennsylvania into New York. But we could still see some isolated 1 to 2 inches of snowfall in the central and south central portions of Ohio. But our main winter storm, the one I think is uptrended significantly and we're really already starting to lock in, is this one here going into Sunday, that the CMC model run has a very large area of winter storm conditions. This wouldn't be a blizzard because you don't have a very well-defined low pressure. However, if we go into Sunday night into Monday morning, this might end up barely getting to blizzard conditions in the northeastern U.S. You see that very, very tight low pressure right there, very tight gradients, and really going into southern Connecticut, barely even into the ocean here. And that could end up causing blizzard conditions along the coastal areas out here in the northeastern United States. And that's what's uptrended significantly over the last couple of days here. If we look at your Canadian model run, then your GFS model run has it as well. And I believe your European model run is a little bit less aggressive, but it still has widespread snow totals of 2 to 4 inches in the northeastern United States. Looking at your higher resolution Canadian model, this is your high-res Canadian model run. It shows the same thing, really, as your normal Canadian model run. It's just simply higher resolution. And if we look at all your ensembles here, we'll zoom into the northeast so it's a little bit easier to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, generally. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not really too well on that one. Pretty much, okay, we'll say about 15 out of the 20 ensembles show blizzard conditions. Right about 15 out of 20 show blizzard conditions. All of them, every single one of them shows winter storm conditions, potentially even major winter storm conditions, but about 15 out of those 20 show blizzard conditions for the northeastern U.S. So I do think we could be talking about a very surprising, significant nor'easter out of this snowstorm. It's not really been talked about much because it kind of came out of absolutely nowhere. All of our models just really uptrended at once with it. And you can see some of these have upwards of a foot of snowfall in the northeastern United States. Some of them have just patches of a foot of snowfall being possible in the northeastern U.S. But generally, every single one of them has widespread 2 to 4 inches of snowfall, with isolated 7 inches of snowfall being a possibility in the northeast U.S. So I do think that this is a surprise winter storm, something that's not being talked about a lot, just simply because of our other winter storm that is taking most of the traction here and the media coverage. It's this one here in the southern U.S. A lot of people are really focused on this one, and not many people are actually talking about the new one that has appeared up just literally 3 days away. It is currently Thursday, obviously. Friday, Saturday, snowstorm. Sunday morning is when this snowstorm occurs, and it actually begins to form as early as Saturday night in portions of Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, but it doesn't really get going until Sunday morning around the 7 to 8, maybe 9 a.m. time frame there. So just keep that in mind. I actually believe this could be a very significant winter storm, maybe blizzard, but definitely a significant winter storm in the northeastern United States. The only thing that concerns me with this system here is there have been some models that have showed it a little bit too far offshore that ends up being a more concentrated area of snowfall. So like this area here gets snow, whereas on the GFS model run like we're looking at right now, you can see it shows snow all the way up from Maine back into Pennsylvania, Kentucky, into Virginia, maybe even western North Carolina as well. So some models are a little bit too far to the southeast. Catman, this is 70 hours out. You might want to take that comment back. 70 hours out there. If you're talking to me personally, don't think that 3 days out is too far out. We're really talking about it's locked in, really. It's already really locked in for a snowstorm in the northeast. And as we go into Tuesday, Tuesday here, this is when we're going to have a lot of uncertainty. This system right here has given us so many problems. I went over in the video on why this system would be so difficult to forecast. It's because we've had so many moving parts. We're literally having one trough ejection here, two trough ejections, three trough ejections, fourth trough ejection, five trough ejections, six trough ejections, all connected to this singular winter storm. The main moving parts are obviously this massive trough here in the US, as well as this kind of little indents you see back down here. These little sharper points for your, we'll call them short waves. They're not really well-defined short waves, but they are short waves. And those have been shifting around a lot. You can see the 12Z didn't even have it. The 0Z didn't have it either, but the newest one, 18Z, has those little tiny short waves, which allow for a very slightly better low pressure to develop. And you can see it right here. It develops a little bit better of a low pressure. That low pressure allows for more moisture to be flung into the US. And you may be wondering, why isn't this moisture being thrown any more north? It's because of that high pressure. If that high pressure is too far south, it will simply block off any moisture from going more north. But as we go out a little bit further, you can see that low pressure tries to pull more north, and it just simply doesn't succeed. And the GFS stays as a complete coastal storm. So I'm still confident that we will be looking at a winter storm somewhere in this area on the 21st of January, but I'm very uncertain on the totals and anything that will really happen out here. Baltimore, let's see. I know you've been saying Baltimore a lot, but you got to understand, when I start the live stream first, normally I want to get through all the data. So yeah, you're in Maryland. You're definitely going to have a risk for snow out of our closer nor'easter. This one right here, Sunday morning and early, all day Sunday, actually, all day Sunday. You're going to have a chance for snowfall, and it's probably pretty high. I imagine it's, yeah. This is your mean. This is 20. This is your most likely case scenario. 20 different ensembles combined into one map, and that shows 4 inches of snowfall, probably about 3 to 5 inches of snowfall being a possibility. Maybe even some isolated areas as high as 6 inches out there in Baltimore. I really would not be surprised if we look at the Canadian model run. I'm sure that's a bit more aggressive here. Let's go back to... See, that's your issue. That's your only issue, is the shifting that we may see here. That's another problem we have, is the cutoff line. See this purple line? That's what we call the 540 line. That's your freezing point. If that goes a little bit more south, then this whole area will be snow. If it's a little bit more north, like where this shows, then it's going to be rain for you in Baltimore. But if we look at the Weather Prediction Center real quick, this is the official site going into Sunday. You can see they also agree with it being that very sharp cutoff. And wherever that cutoff stays, wherever it is, north of that cutoff is going to have very heavy snowfall. South of it will have literally nothing. So that's going to be probably your biggest uncertainty. Personally, I think it's going to be a bit more south, and you'll end up with snow in Baltimore. But it's definitely possible it's a bit more north. I mean, you can see the European model run has it more south. GFS has it more south. Can we look at any other model runs? We'll go over here. Can you guys still see this? Okay. Now let's look at the Icon model run, see if that has it more south. Let's see here. This is the GMA, not the Icon. I thought so. I was like, where in the world's all the products at? So here's your Icon. I want to see if that has it more south. See, the Icon model run as well has it more south. So I think the Canadian is a bit of an outlier here, because that's what, like 4 different models that have it hitting Baltimore. So Canadian model run might be a bit of an outlier here, showing it too far north. Now I want to look at all of your ensembles, see how many of them have it too far north here. All of them are south. Every last one is south. Not a single one has it too far north for you. I mean, every single one of them you get snow on, all 20 of them. Not a single one. So it looks like the Canadian model run's an outlier. I don't think I could show snowfall total. Oh, well, there you go. Snow totals. So this still shows your 2 to 3 inches of snowfall out here in and around Baltimore. But your heaviest is out here in the northeast U.S. I know, let me go up. There you go. It's in the northeastern U.S. where we actually see those heaviest totals. but you still end up with 2 to 3 inches out there in Baltimore. So, I mean, right now I would expect 3, 4 inches of snow in Baltimore, but just know you may see a little bit higher, you may see a little bit lower. The closer we get, the more we'll know. We're already pretty close to the event. It's just that this is relatively new. Like I said, this has really just appeared on the model runs. We had it slowly uptrending with time, but today, it was a big jump. It was a massive jump. You can see yesterday, this isn't even yesterday, actually. This is earlier this morning. You can see how minimal it was. Look at that. You know, just a bit of snowfall in Southern Virginia. That's it. That's what our model runs were showing. And then today, all of a sudden, just every single model run just increased significantly with snow chances across the entire northeastern U.S. And then, like I said, our next snowstorm will be on the 21st. A lot of uncertainty with that in the southern U.S., but it's still going to be a snowstorm. We're still going to watch it. And then our next one will be right after that, 23rd of January. This one's going to be the best chance if you live in like Illinois, Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio. That's going to be your best opportunity for a snowstorm with this upcoming pattern. Right now, the GFS shows you guys getting snow. And then after that, you'll never guess, right? I don't think you'll ever guess, but we'll probably see another snowstorm. I know, shocker. This one right here is going to be a potential big one because a lot of our models, ensembles, and also some other charts that I've looked at have showed this system either being absolutely huge for snow and even severe weather, or nothing at all. Like we have a high pressure that builds in over that area and we see pretty much nothing. Today, models have definitely been trending into the more aggressive side. You can see sure, buddy, 2 feet and 3 feet in the Northeast. Sure, European model run. Models have definitely trended more aggressive with this snowstorm as well towards the end of the month. So this is going to be a potential big one right here. So we have like I said, there's like literally 4 to 5 different snowstorms that are possible in the U.S. All the way until the end of January. And the last one, at the very end of January, will probably end up being potentially the biggest one. Now, it is also the furthest one out, so it has the most uncertainty. But there's already a fair amount of confidence in it occurring. The exact positioning, though, is definitely a question mark, but let me just show you here. So there's your trough. That's what's going to be the main causer of it right there. You can see if we bring this back, notice all the snowstorms we get over the next week. They're all from kind of elongated, more long trough ejections like this. See that? That's an elongated trough ejection right there. So that's an elongated trough. This one here on the 19th will be elongated. The 21st will be very elongated. The 23rd will be very elongated. And then the 27th or so, that's a full bowling ball trough. You can see it traverses the Rockies very, very well. And another thing I can show you guys to also help you understand how good of a signal this is, let me use the CFS version 2 here, which is personally one of my favorite things for forecasting long-term severe weather threats. This actually, if you remember the outbreak back in December, what was it, December 28th? This actually detected it all the way out, 2 weeks out. It actually saw that threat, and that's how we were able to predict it out that far away because of this singular page right here. This is your daily supercell composite, and you don't want to pay attention to these little ones here. You see these tiny little signals like that, this tiny little signal, those, nah, you don't want to pay attention to those because they're literally nothing. This, though, look at the jump. Look at the jump in a lot of your ensembles here. All of them, pretty much all of them, are showing an increase in supercell composite here towards the end of the month. And that is directly correlated with the trough ejection. So the more of these ensembles that we see and the higher up they go in this chart, the better chance we're going to have for a trough ejection, a severe weather threat, and overall also a snowstorm at the end of the month. And you can see here, these signals are very low. Why? Because, like I said, they're correlated with elongated trough ejections, not bowling ball trough ejections. Yes, it would be Dixie Alley and a half, southern Dixie Alley. Like the GFS, I think, shows Houston as the primary area. Yeah, you can see that here. It shows like far southern United States for a severe threat. But of course, this is a deterministic. I really didn't want to look at this too much. Please don't take this one seriously whatsoever, because it is deterministic. That's why I like to look at this, because it shows you multiple different ensembles. It shows you how much agreement we have or how much disagreement we have. Same goes for the GFS ensembles here, which I actually haven't looked at these new ones for the severe threat. Let's see. I don't think this is going to go out far enough. Like I said, it's pretty dang far out. It is pretty far out. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves with forecasting this one way out here. First, we got to take this one system at a time, but that's going to be a little bit difficult when we're looking at 4 systems in the span of 2 weeks. So, like I said, we've got a snowstorm here that we're watching on the 19th. I think that one's going to be one of our biggest ones out of the whole bunch. Just simply because of how much it's uptrended over the last few days. Then we got another one right on the 21st into the 22nd. We got another one on the 23rd into the 24th. And then we do get a break. This is our break right here. This is when we're going to be above average. You know, the outlook I showed earlier in this live stream, I talked about above average temperatures. This is what I was talking about. Look at this. We see a ridge enter the United States, and that allows for a warm up here. A lot of us are going to be getting up into the 40s, 50s, and maybe even as high as into the 60s on January 25th and 26th. That's going to be your big warm-up that we will experience. And like I mentioned in the video from a while ago, a couple days ago, whenever you see a warm-up like this in winter, there's a good chance once you get an Arctic blast, a trough ejection, a cold front, whatever it may be, hitting that warm temperatures, it's going to cause a clash. Once that clash happens, that clash creates thunderstorms. Thunderstorms with instability creates severe weather. And then also if you have a trough ejection, you're going to be looking at a winter storm on the north side of that as well. So overall, this is definitely a very large recipe for a snowstorm and some sort of severe threat. It may be a small scale severe threat. It may be large scale. We're too far out to get into those specifics. But here you go on the 26th. You can see it. 26th, 27th, you get this big blast, and the big blast creates thunderstorms, and guess what? You get a low pressure, you get those cool temps on the northwestern side, that creates a snowstorm on the northwest side with severe weather on the southeast side. So there you go. That's normally what happens whenever you see a big warm-up like that in the U.S. You can see here on like the 18th, this warm-up we're experiencing here on the 18th, which is literally, you know, tomorrow into, Saturday. This big warm-up, the reason why it's not going to create any severe weather is it's an elongated jet stream. Just like I talked about, you've got an elongated jet stream from the southwest and elongated jet stream from the west to the northeast. So that allows for more of a kind of zonal flow pattern. It's definitely not zonal flow, but it just doesn't favor severe weather, right? You don't see any big bowling ball trough, negative tilt troughs. It's just an elongated trough ejection. That does favor winter storm potential, which we're going to see on the 18th as well as on the around the 19th as well. Back-to-back snowstorms there. But it doesn't favor severe weather. You can also see how far south this is. If we were to see severe weather, it would be in this area here. But take a quick look at this, and you don't have any instability. The GFS shows the tiniest bit of instability. Let's look at the NAM real quick. It does show a little instability, but it's poor timed. Your instability is overnight. So it's poor timed. This is literally 1 a.m., and you've got a capping in place. So it's very poorly timed. I wonder if the SPC has a thunderstorm risk out here, because I know yesterday they didn't. Yep, this is for tomorrow. They do have a large thunderstorm risk out for tomorrow out here, and I bet they have it on day 3 too. Yep, there you go. But that doesn't really mean severe weather is possible. That just means generalized thunderstorms are possible. I wouldn't say severe weather with this. It's not that often we see severe weather in general thunderstorm risks. Typically, it's when we get a marginal risk that we end up saying severe storms would be possible. If you guys are just now tuning in, or if you've been in here for a little while, make sure you hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated. The more likes we have, the more people will be able to reach with the word of these upcoming snowstorms and potential severe weather threat towards the end of the month. Also, if you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. Let's see. Are you talking about the overall? Yeah, Ben, you're talking about the overall tornado season. Yeah. I've been saying that for like the last 3 months already, that we'd be ending up with a more Dixie Alley tornado season in 2025. Now we are in second season. Second season, it's pretty rare to have something that's not Dixie Alley. That's what made years like 2021 extremely rare. It's very rare you see setups into like the Central Plains or Northern Plains in second season. So this is very typical. A normal Dixie Alley severe weather setup here, where we just see some supercell composite in the southern U.S. That's really not anything new. But overall, our tornado season from March to June, July, that's going to be more of a Dixie Alley threat. Caleb, what are you on about? There's barely anything there. I don't really want one. But thanks, I guess. I mean, it's not really present, but okay. Small severe weather outbreak. I didn't say that, did I? I agree. I don't think we will either. Ain't gonna be no severe weather outbreak in a general thunderstorm risk. There's definitely no setup for that. We have some. I wouldn't fully rule out a severe storm tomorrow or Saturday. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but anything more than a gusty wind of like 40 to 60 miles per hour, heck no. And even that would be, that's pushing it. I mean, let's look at the HRRR. Yeah, see, the HRRR has a few storms. For instance, if this actually happens tomorrow at noon or Saturday at noon, that's going to be what could cause a gusty wind of 40 to 60 miles per hour. But anything more than that, no, we're not going to see it. It's a very messy setup, very low end ingredients. Really nothing that we're going to see in terms of anything worth tracking. What do you think was the worst severe weather this year, 2024? I've said it multiple times. I assume you're talking about the worst day, and you can't get me to change my mind. April 26th, 2024. Not even close to any other threat, in my opinion. From on the day, once it was a day out, I thought they were going to upgrade to moderate risk day 2 and then high risk day 1. They kept that sucker enhanced risk, and to this day, I still don't know why. There was minimal bust factors, a perfect environment, a fantastic, one of the best trough ejections you can get in April in the North Central Plains. Absolute perfect low pressure dry line, cold front, and warm sector. It was a beautiful, like 9.5 out of 10 setup that nearly guaranteed strong to violent tornadoes. And it just was an enhanced risk. It was so easy to tell. Yes, it was, Ben. It was the easiest setup to forecast, in my opinion. It could not have been any more easy of a bullseye. But somehow, for some reason, they just didn't upgrade to moderate risk. And like I said, it was, in my opinion, I even said it the stream before the 26th, on the 25th, we did a live stream. I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to go high risk. And then the next day, it was enhanced risk, and it never went high. And I think we saw like 120 some tornadoes. Honestly, I really haven't looked too much back into it. That's just by far the most memorable day. Like easily, that's just the day I remember the most. Let's see. Can I look at the... about 108 tornado reports, which that doesn't directly correlate to actual tornadoes. So probably, I don't know, we probably had around 80 or so. I don't know exactly how many. But I gotta show you. I gotta show you the upper air pattern. I mean, come on. Absolutely perfection. This is the upper air pattern on April 26th. Absolute perfection. Massive negatively tilted trough. Perfectly tilted over the Rockies in the morning hours. Just absolutely perfectly turned negatively tilted at 7, 8 a.m. Storms were initiating by 11 a.m. noon. And then into the nocturnal hours, you kept on with that absolutely perfect trough ejection. And that was just, I mean, in my book, that was just like easy. It's such an easy forecast. And then there's your lower level jet. Look at your lower level jet. You can even tell that lower level jet, you can see the trough ejection. It's moving up to the northeast. You can easily tell that's going to overlap over this area right in here. It was such an easy forecast. That's why I was very confident they were going to go moderate or high risk. And then we woke up to this. We woke up to this, and I was like, huh? What type of outlook is that? It's just keeping it an enhanced risk, which obviously the enhanced risk verified, but it's actually significantly overperformed. And then they did possibly one of the weirdest outlooks I've seen. I mean, I don't really know exactly what they did with that there. There was really one main target area, and it was in this area here. And then, of course, we did have some random crazy tornado in Texas that popped up out of nowhere, and that went crazy. This one right out here, I forgot exactly what it was, but that storm, it just kept putting down tornadoes. I'm pretty sure that was in the very early morning hours. But this wasn't too bad. If they just made it bigger and then fit a moderate risk in it, so they had a big enhanced like this or something, like kind of like enhanced like this or so, and then fit the moderate risk in on Iowa, this area. You know, that would have been more understandable right there. Of course, it's easier to look back and say, oh, they should have went moderate and high risk in this region. But like I said, I did a live stream the day before this on the 25th. That it was my same thinking that they should have gone high risk. Every time someone brings up the most notable event, what was, in my opinion, the most notable event of 2024, it's always that. I really don't think I've said anything other than April 26th. Okay, there we go. Ben, the thing is, Ben, the day before May 5th, looking from May 5th into May 6th, it was a high risk setup. The morning of May 6th, most things started to downtrend, and the storm mode was, there was even significant more confidence in a more clustery linear mode once we got into the afternoon of May 6th. So, the parameter space is what warranted them to upgrade that to a high risk, and honestly couldn't blame them for that. It was very easy to tell why they upgraded on that day. All it took was one discrete storm. We could have had a ridiculously long-tracked violent tornado throughout all of central Oklahoma, into northeastern Oklahoma, because the parameter space was just absurd on that day. But thankfully, it all went clustered. We didn't see anything in the day. And then, of course, we did have the Barnsdale tornado into the night hours. Isn't the high risk the one that had the Barnsdale tornado? I'm pretty sure it was. Let's see. Oops. That's not the right date. May 6th. Yep, that was a high risk. Sorry, there's so many events from 2024, I mix them all up. Now, see, we were talking about severe weather. If we're talking about hurricanes, Helene definitely easily took the cake in terms of U.S. impacts. Milton was a very easy second place, but it was easily Helene and then Milton. Because of the only reason why is because Milton with the tornado outbreak. Milton had that ridiculous tornado outbreak, but Helene also had tornadoes and it had the most absurd flooding event in North Carolina that we've ever seen. So Helene was definitely up there. I think isn't Helene the second most costliest hurricane since 2005 or something like that? I know it's up there in the charts. I forgot exactly what it is. But I know it took like second or third place or something like that. I can't figure out what it was. I think Milton was 897, pretty sure. I remember tracking that from the hotel. I was on vacation during Milton. Freaking planned that sucker a month and a half in advance, and then the most historic hurricane in the last 2 decades happened while I'm on vacation. Still streamed it though. Dedication. Still streamed it. No microphone. One laptop with a virus on it and horrific hotel Wi-Fi, and I streamed it. Seventh most costliest in record, but I think it was the second most costliest since 2005 or third, second or third. I can't really remember. Like I said, it's just so many things were broken, so many records were broken, so many storms ended up passing 2005. Our hurricane season was absolutely absurd. We broke so many records with it. And severe weather season also broke so many records. I mean, we literally had the most tornadoes, second most tornadoes in the US on record. We passed 2011, and that's something I didn't even think was going to be possible. I really didn't think we would see another year with so many tornadoes since 2011 so soon. We knew 2024 from the start. I knew 2024 was going to be a big year, but never thought it would be as big as it actually was. No, not even close. And then hurricane season, we knew it was going to be big, but we didn't even think that we didn't think it would be a late start like how it was. We thought September was going to be huge, and then it ended up being very end of September into all of October. And then, of course, we had Beryl in July. I mean, it was just so much. It was just so much. There was so many records broken. It's like it's all just compiled into my head, and it's almost a blur because it's so many records. I've mixed them all up because just so many were broken. It shouldn't be, Indiana. I don't think 2025 will be nearly as active in terms of severe weather. I do think we will have a very active start to 2025. I think March and April are going to be very active. I haven't looked into May, and then I think hurricane season will be active as well. I don't know about above average for hurricane season, but it looks to be active, looking way out. That's the cool thing about weather forecasting is you can actually forecast the generalized patterns so far out from looking at what we're going on, what we're going to go into. Like we have the El Nino, the La Nina, and all the other oscillations and everything. I don't want to get into all of it because then Catman will come in and correct me on every little detail. When he's not in here, I'll try my best, but when he's in here, I ain't going to try. I think it will be average hurricane season, maybe a little above average, but generally average. And I think severe weather season will be average. I think we're going to have a normal year. Tyler, Texas. Let's see here. Okay, well, that still worked. Let me go check. If you do get any snow, it would be Tuesday morning. But there's so much uncertainty with it. I wouldn't expect it. It is possible Tuesday morning, but there's just a lot of uncertainty around the system. Like I talked about before, we just generally know that this area in here has a risk for a snowstorm on the 21st. And this storm has a lot of uncertainty. This one has a lot of uncertainty with it. Yeah, the western panhandle of Florida could actually see potentially snowstorm conditions out of this. It is actually possible. We're going to have to see which way models trend tomorrow because today they were all over the place. They're just now starting to get back into agreement with each other. So at like 11 o'clock tonight, we'll get newer model runs. And then tomorrow, a lot of them would be more accurate. And we'll probably end up, I think tomorrow, what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm just going to let the model runs figure themselves out. And then Saturday, we'll do a briefing. And then Sunday, we'll probably end up doing coverage for our nor'easter. And then Monday, we'll probably end up doing another briefing, maybe coverage. Tuesday will be coverage. Wednesday will probably be briefing. Thursday, maybe coverage. And then Friday, maybe coverage or a briefing. And then after that, we'll take a little break. And we'll see where our weather pattern is from there. But a lot of live streams, a lot of live streams. I'm going to take one break tomorrow. That's my planned. Tomorrow's my only planned break for the next week or so. I might end up, fitting in another break. It just depends on what the pattern looks like. The elongated trough here, it's definitely far south. Hopefully it trends more northwest. I know the newer model runs are starting to trend northwest. But it is definitely just a bit too far south. I mean, shoot, the ocean's got a better chance at snow now. Let me go up here again. Okay. What places during March and April? For severe weather season, a lot of it's going to be Dixie Alley. Of course, we'll do our tornado forecast probably either at the very, very last few days of February or early March. We'll do our yearly forecast for tornadoes. But, I mean, we're going to be looking at probably this whole area here for the most activity in March and April. Of course, we'll end up with the occasional event up here, but just this area down here looks to be the best spot for severe weather in March and April. Well, I'll see what it looks like around that time frame, Catman. Because last year, I was literally just a couple days too late. We were already getting our severe weather outbreaks underway in late February, early March. Yes, Caleb, I indeed have a life and I want to go do other things. There's not really much need to talk about other stuff. I mean, I briefed you guys on everything. That's why I'm going to take tomorrow off because I've got a lot of things I want to do. And then Saturday will, like I said, will definitely be live Saturday, definitely be live Sunday. There's really no point in doing more than an hour briefing. I just don't see it. I mean, we've really talked about everything I wanted to, and a lot of this is going to just end up changing so quickly, too. So, I don't want to go in depth with, like, the snow totals and what cities have the best chance at seeing high snow totals. I just wanted to go over the overall large-scale pattern going into this threat and all these snowstorms. See, like, saying how much snow can we get, I'm not going to be able to tell you how much, but I could tell you if you're going to favor a snow threat, which I'd say, yeah. I think you are going to get some snow out there in the far southeastern portions of North Carolina. How much? I'm pretty sure most of our model runs are confident on you seeing snow, so that's the one area I think I'm confident enough in saying you're probably going to end up with an inch or more of snowfall. Anything more than an inch, I can't tell you. I don't want to give you, say like 3 inches of snowfall because there's not a lot of agreement on how much. It's just agreement on you're gonna see snowfall. You can see here that's our best opportunity of seeing up to 2 inches of snowfall is right over Jacksonville, North Carolina. Yeah, New York City could see a bunch of snow. Definitely, this is by far, by a milestone, the greatest, the best pattern we have seen for snowfall in New York City. If you want snow in New York City, this upcoming pattern for the rest of January is definitely going to favor the potential for multiple snowstorms in New York City. But this first one, Sunday night into Monday morning, is definitely going to be by far your best bet that we've seen in the entire year and winter season overall. It's definitely got the best opportunity that we've seen. But all right, we're going to go ahead and conclude. I'll look at Greenville, Texas really quick, but that is going to be it for this live stream. Thank you, mods, for mod and chat. I greatly appreciate it. I think you're a little bit too far north. Still, it's worth watching Tuesday, just in case, Tuesday morning, but I think that's really, I don't think you're really going to get much up there. But that's going to be it. On your way out, if you can, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell set to all so you know when I go live Friday, or rather Saturday. Sorry, Saturday, taking off Friday. Saturday I will be live. Most likely it will be our normal time of 6 p.m. Eastern. And that is going to be it for this live stream. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Thursday night. And I hope you stay safe out there. There will be, since you guys have tuned in all the way for the entire duration of the live stream, I'll be gifting 10 memberships at the end of this live stream. So stay until the very end. Once you see those memberships gifted, of course, then you can go if you don't want one or if you got one. But if you're wanting a membership, make sure you stay until I hand them out. I'm not going to hand them out until I end the live stream and my outro is done. So you got to stay until the very end for those to be handed out. And yeah, that's going to be it. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Just giving those memberships to you guys. It's just a way of an appreciation. Sometimes I forget, I'll be honest with you. It's not something I remember that often. But I try my best to remember to give those 10 memberships a month. And we'll see who gets them. We'll see who gets them at the end of this live stream. So stay safe. Watch the severe weather. Definitely watch the snowfall. And I will see you guys probably Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye. stay safe. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will see you guys in the next live stream that I do. Stay safe and watch the